the biggest headline this week have been Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. They have been on a complete tear. Embiid had 50 and 12 against the Magic in less than 30 minutes. Jokic had 49, 14, and 10, had 36 in the second half versus the Clippers. Now this begs the question. Nikola Jokic versus Joel Embiid, who is better? But on top of that question, who would you rather have?
Ooh. Yeah, it's so tough.
That's such a tough question, and I think looking at it probably from a statistical standpoint, you probably would lean the Joker because he beats him in every statistic from
just about
basics to advanced. He just beats him in every statistic. But obviously, when you watch both of them play, you can tell it's a lot closer than what people think. Me personally, I would probably lean towards the Joker. You know, I just think he's more durable than Joel Embiid. I think he's a better shooter than Joel Embiid. I think he's a guy who can run my offense. You can't really double team him. He can still make passes out of double teams. He's a really great rebounder, and his defense has improved, so he's not a liability on that side of the court. And plus, we've seen him dominate series. You know, against Portland last year, them being the underdogs, we've seen him gut out a win. And with his team this year, with his two guys, Jamal Murray being out for the season, then Michael Porter Jr. going out when he was supposed to take that next leap, he has completely put this team on his back, and they've still been very competitive. You know, they got Aaron Gordon, and he's played, for the most part, he's played pretty good under the Joker. And I think just like him being a point center, you know, being able to elevate his teammates and being able to elevate that offense, you know, it's like kind of like Steph Curry with the Warriors. He is the offense. He runs the offense. He's that guy. Even when Jamal Murray gets back, he's still going to be that point guard, and Jamal Murray's going to feed off him. So I think, you know, shout out to Embiid because his two-way play is amazing, but I still think he has weaknesses in his game a little bit more than the Joker, as opposed to the Joker, where I think right now at this moment he doesn't have many weaknesses in his game.
Stats this season, yeah, Jokic has more points than he does, averaging more rebounds than Embiid is. But career-wise, Embiid averages more points, averages more rebounds, averages more blocks. Jokic is just a clear-cut better passer. This is tough for me because I care about both sides of the ball, and where I think both of them are a 10 out of 10. Maybe I'll give Embiid a 9.5 because he doesn't have that passing skill set that Jokic has. I'm looking at defense, and I think Embiid's a 10 out of 10, and I don't think Jokic is a 10 out of 10. At the most I can give him is around an 8, 8.5 out of 10 because he's definitely taken great strides in his defense this year. In terms of who's better, I lean Jokic. In terms of who I would rather Embiid because I'm getting both offense and defense. Over this last stretch of games, the lowest amount of points that he scored since the new year, him being Embiid, is 25 points. He's been at a different level of recent, but that's still credit to Jokic because he's leading an inferior team right now. When they're off the court, you guys hear it every single episode that we talk about Jokic. When he's on the court, they're one of the best teams in the league. When he's off the court, they're the worst team in the league. By advanced analytics, obviously you look at Jokic and you say he's the better player, but from what the eyes show me, Jokic is great offensively and great defensively. The edge you can give to Jokic on offense is that he can facilitate the basketball. So offensively, you probably will lean Jokic, given the fact that he is such a good passer, but defensively, it's not close. Offensively, for me personally, it's closer offensively than it is defensively. Offensively, Jokic is better. Defensively, Embiid's better, but in one of those categories, one's significantly better than the other. It's a really good debate because people are just going to look at it and say, this season, he has the highest PER ever. And he has, I think the gap from 1 to 2 is larger than the gap from 2 to 8. And Will Chamberlain obviously holds the record right now for highest PER in a season ever. So this season, you have to say Jokic. But last season, Embiid was the MVP until he got hurt. And then this paved the way for Jokic to really have his MVP campaign take the forefront. And he was the obvious winner come the end of the season. You couldn't debate it given the fact that Embiid missed some time. But if Embiid never missed time, that's his award. And we're looking at this conversation a little bit differently. However, that being said, I still feel very confident when I'm saying Jokic is the better player right now. But who am I taking personally to start my roster? Or if I had the choice between the two, I take Embiid.
This is tough. I'm an Embiid guy. I like Joel Embiid. I followed his career. He's in my team's division, Brooklyn's division. So I always keep tabs with the players that are in my division. with that being said, I think it's very, very close. I would have to give the slight edge to Nikola Jokic just based off the fact that he plays more games. There's been a knock on Joel Embiid's entire career. He missed, I think, the first 2 seasons of his career with injuries. One playoff run I remember, I think it was the year Kawhi Leonard won the championship in 2019. He wasn't healthy in the Brooklyn series, wasn't himself in the Toronto series, and that ultimately ended up costing him that series, even though it took a shot to win that. But, I mean, just last night, just off Jokic's performance, I mean, he can fill the stat sheet. He's averaging 14 rebounds a game. He's scoring about 27 points per game. And on top of that, he's a point guard who makes other people around him better. He's like, the pass that he made to Aaron Gordon yesterday in the corner off that double team was spot on, and that ultimately won them the game. And, all the stats, all the analytical numbers, whether it be just the regular stats or the advanced base stats, it all leans towards Nikola Jokic. And Nikola Jokic, to Rivers' point, is doing this without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr., and even when Michael Porter Jr. was playing, he was a shell of himself, albeit because of the injury or whatever the case may be. So Jokic has had to carry, he's had to carry a lot. He's had to carry a large load. He's leading the team in just about every statistical category. And Embiid in Philly, at least he has people to lean on in some types of way, like Seth Curry shooting basically 42%, averaging 16 points. Tyrese Maxey's breakout year, averaging 17 points. Tobias Harris has been pretty bad this year from the 3-point line, but he's averaging 18 points. He's very mid. He's averaging 18 points per game. So Embiid's supporting cast is better. I'm not going to argue with you. Defensively, I don't think it's close. I think Joel Embiid, he's proven that he's an all-defensive player, but I think it comes down to games played and who I can trust more. And Jokic is giving me a track record of that, just giving me a track record that I can trust him more. He's played more games this season. He's played more games in the last 3 seasons. He's been more healthy. He hasn't had any long-term injuries, and now he's number 1 in the MVP race. Now I don't know if you guys know that he just leaped over Giannis. Now he's
Embiid got to 2, right?
Giannis is 2, Embiid is 3, Durant is 4. But with that being said, I think games played really matters. But I will say one thing, and I do agree with Drew. If we were looking at it in terms of they were both playing the equal amount of games, like if Joel Embiid had the opportunity to be healthy in those playoff runs, we would be talking about them much differently.
Joel, before you go, I just want to ask both of them a question, because you both said that, and you both believe it's games played, right? So you
I mean, that's
no, I'm saying
I do. I think that's important.
If they both played the same amount of games, Joel would have been the MVP last year.
I think he had a shot.
So my thing is,
last year I feel like that's
because he was the lead. He was leading.
So my thing is, you said you'd rather start a team with Embiid, right? Mm-hmm. And you think it's just the games played is what's really holding Embiid
and I like Jokic's game slightly better, slightly though.
But I just feel like when you guys say that, you guys forget like that the Joker is in NBA history. He came back from 3-1 twice in a row in a playoff run, and then last year he won against a Portland Trailblazer team. Like Joel Embiid was the underdog in that series. Joel Embiid has in the playoffs, he hasn't been amazing. He's had his moments where he's lost to Boston, or he's been hurt, or last year where they blew it against Atlanta. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I would lean towards
Boston in the bubble.
Yeah, not even in the bubble. Before that, when he played Jason Tatum and Terry Rozier,
the rookie year.
Yeah, but I think even leaning towards Embiid in a situation like that, it's hard for me to say that over the Joker when the track record has shown that the Joker has been reliable, and in the playoffs, he's shown the ability to get it done.
If you put the pieces around Embiid, I feel like if you put the right pieces around Embiid,
he can make.
He could win a championship before Jokic can, in my opinion. Oof. I feel like it's easier to build a team around Embiid than it would be with Jokic, for me personally. Just think that series against Toronto. They were.
I mean, he had the team.
The luckiest bounce away from going potentially to the finals, because you look that season, they were one of the better teams against Milwaukee that year, and they had the defense to stop Giannis Antetokounmpo in that next series. It took a 3-bounce fall in for them to lose that series.
The Joker has actually went to the conference finals.
I understand. I understand.
So it's hard for me to say that.
What?
You know?
But
Because with that
Jamal
team,
Murray, are we not going to give him credit?
No, we're
No,
not.
Jamal
I'm
Murray
saying
was
that team that
spazzing.
you're talking about had Ben Simmons,
Jimmy
Butler,
Tobias Harris.
It was a great team.
And JJ Redick.
Yeah, like it was a.
JJ
it
Redick.
was-
No, I'm with you.
He wasn't like.
But they didn't
Embiid-
get washed, and Embiid
but I'm
also
saying
led the
Embiid
team
might
in
have been the
points that
best
Game 7
player.
also.
Embiid might have been the best player on the team talent wise, but he like there's Jimmy Butler who's there. He was their best clutch player. He was their leader down the stretch. Ben Simmons was their best perimeter defender. Like he had a lot of
No
things
doubt.
To
going
lean
for
on,
him.
no
doubt.
Yeah, he had a lot of things going for him. So
I agree.
Embiid got locked against Gasol.
No, he
Gasol
did.
locked
No, he
him.
did. No, I remember
He had
that day we
21
had that
points that
argument.
Game 7.
Yo, but
that's not
Yo,
like.
It's not great, but I'm saying he had the most points on the squad.
yo,
And
one-
that lost
yeah,
by
that's
2
for
points.
him.
one thing
Yes,
that's one thing that's a little alarming to me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. I heard it today. I believe on a podcast. How long is Joel Embiid's championship window? I don't have that question about Jokic because he's been healthy. I think the style of play that Jokic plays in, and you know, being that he doesn't have much injury history, how like I think that factors into my
I
decision
think it
as
depends
well.
on if they put a championship team around him.
Like, do you think 4 or 5 years where you could see him being this dominant, maybe less? Like that's a serious question that you have to have about Joel Embiid.
As long as he stays healthy, he's fine.
I think so too.
But let me go.
I also misspoke. I said that Jokic has more points than Embiid. That's wrong.
Yeah,
Embiid's
Embiid-
averaging 28. He just has more rebounds, more assists.
Everything else, yeah.
Nikola Jokic separated himself last season, and frankly, I thought that 2 seasons before that he was better anyway. Like I think Jokic has been better than Embiid for a while now. His passing and playmaking ability has just surpassed what I thought he'd be, and it's just way above what Embiid's is. Embiid still gets trapped in double teams and makes errant passes, turns the ball over. Jokic is very comfortable in those situations. Embiid used to be over Jokic because his career got off to a faster start, and you take into account his defensive ability and just his offensive repertoire. He's an amazing elite post player. What he can do at his size is spectacular, is special. Jokic is just a step above. The way that we talk about Steph versus Dame, that's Jokic versus Embiid. Jokic
Yeesh.
is that
I don't like
much
that.
higher
I don't think
I don't
so.
like
than
I don't like
Embiid.
I
that.
don't think so either.
I don't like that. I'll let you finish.
For one, you mentioned it. Jokic is having the best season PER-wise of all time.
Correct.
He's not a vertical player. He is 36% in block. He's 36% in block percentage right now. He's in the 36th percentile in block percentage, which isn't very good. Per cleaning the glass, but he does have 3 game-winning blocks this season. Last year, the problem on defense for him was effort. Draymond called him out on it. Draymond has even said he's improved this year, and it shows. The argument people use for Embiid over Jokic, and this is the only argument you can use for putting Embiid over Jokic, is defense. But opponents have an effective field goal percentage that is 6.1 points lower when Jokic is on them. And he has grabbed rebounds on 31.6% of all opponents' missed field goals. The Nuggets have allowed 105 points per possession. The Nuggets have allowed 105.5 points per possession when Jokic is on the floor versus 116.2 when he's off. When Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle are both on the floor together, Philly's best defenders, their defensive rating is 107.1. So Jokic on the floor, defensive rating-wise, is better than Philly when Embiid and Matisse are both on the floor for Philly. They are better defensively. Jokic has become a great defender. He's not just average. He's not just good. What Phoenix did to him in the playoffs last year in drop coverage, that will never happen again with Joel Embiid. I'm certain of,
Jokic.
that will never happen again with Nikola Jokic. I am certain of that.
That gives him a nod defensively over Embiid.
But how
I wouldn't say
are you of that though?
95%.
We got to see it first. We got to see it first.
I will say this. Embiid is better than Nikola Jokic. Even though the advanced numbers lean Nikola Jokic,
defensively. Okay.
I still think Embiid is better defensively. But Jokic is just as good as the defender right now as Defensive Player of the Year Marc Gasol when he won it. Like, yeah, I think so.
I'm not buying that.
I think so.
It's hard. It's hard to buy. It's hard to buy.
Nikola Jokic, and if you look at any chart, any chart that measures defensive and offensive impact, Nikola Jokic offensively, top of the league. Defensively, top of the league. He is an elite offensive player, a great defensive player. There's no argument for Joel Embiid anymore. Then we want
No argument?
No, there's none. Absolutely none. Then we
Marcus is crazy.
The offensive part.
then we want to talk.
You
then
could
if
argue Joel's a better scorer than Jokic is. Yes.
You can definitely argue that.
Yes,
you could argue that.
Absolutely.
He's a better post player than him. I think so.
His offensive bag might be better,
He's
bro.
a better.
Yeah.
He's a better scorer.
It definitely it looks prettier.
No, it's better.
And
looks
also,
pretty.
you
It's
mentioned that he turns the ball over. He's averaging the least turnover he's ever had in his career. He's averaging the most assists he's ever averaged in his career.
No.
There's a difference. There's a difference to that.
We're not gonna.
I'm just saying.
We're not
I'm
gonna
saying he's getting
entertain the
better.
playmaking.
There's a
not at all.
difference.
But
you wanna know
you're saying
why?
He still
Playmaking
does.
is crazy.
I'm saying he's improved.
I attribute that to, we know Ben Simmons was huge for Philly. I attribute that to the increased spacing Philly now has.
But wouldn't there be more? Okay, that's different than what I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to say that he has the ball in his hands more. He's going to be playmaking a little bit more.
But also, in the playoffs, let's not act like Nikola Jokic is not just head and heels over Embiid in the playoffs. He's just way past them.
I agree.
When Joel
I agree
Embiid
with
didn't
that.
have Ben Simmons in the playoffs, as much as everybody wants to blame Ben Simmons in the Atlanta series,
They got swept,
He deserves a lot of blame for that.
who got swept?
When Ben didn't play.
When Ben didn't play
against Boston.
when Ben Simmons didn't
they
play
got
in the
swept.
first
They
round
got
versus
swept.
Boston, Embiid,
That Boston team went to the Eastern Conference
Okay,
Finals.
let me finish. Embiid had a great statistical series. They didn't win a game. Last year, who were the favorites in the Nuggets and Portland series?
Portland.
Who were the Nuggets guards? Facundo Campazzo and Austin Rivers and Monte Morris
Dame was
and Jokic.
killing them.
Dame had a
55 piece on him.
Dame had great performances in that series.
He did.
It didn't matter.
He had 10
Jokic
threes
was
in the
that
game and
great.
lost.
Jokic was that great. He led that team to the second round. They lost to Phoenix. Yeah, it was embarrassing. Yeah. Jokic, I think, learned from that moment. He'll be better. Jokic in his playoff career has always played more than 10 games in the playoff. 14 his first year, made the second round, game 7, 1 game away from the Western Conference Finals. Second year, made the Western Conference Finals. Then this past year, lost in the second round. Joel Embiid, he's gotten bounced out the first round twice. Lost to Boston twice in the first round and in the second round when there was no Kyrie or Hayward. They lost to a rookie Tatum. Joel Embiid can't touch Jokic in the playoffs. Offensively, Jokic is above Joel Embiid. There's no doubt about it. And defensively, even though Embiid is an elite defender,
No doubt about it. It's
Jokic
crazy.
is now a great defender. I'd compare him to Marc Gasol. And I think Jokic at his best is going to be Marc Gasol level defender, which is great
That's a
for him
defensive
because
player of the year.
he's somebody that we never thought would get to that level.
For no doubt about it that he's a better offensive player. Like, if you're just
No, there's no doubt about it.
I think
you're
the assist
There's
factor.
no doubt
That's
about
the
it.
assist
But
and the
that's what I'm saying.
points.
There's no
if you're
doubt about
accounting playmaking in that.
That
Well,
matters.
that's what
Offense.
That
offensive
matters.
is.
That being said, Embiid is a better scorer than Jokic is. His passing is not Jokic's by any means.
You say Embiid's a better scorer?
He is.
Okay. You say that. What's the gap?
It's not that much.
Like, just give me a hand sign, like with your fingers, like of the gap.
I'll give a number. I'll give a number gap. I'll say that. Again, let's say we're saying that Embiid's the scale, right? He's the 10. I would say that Jokic is probably at like a 9.4, 9.3.
Is that factoring playmaking or just
No,
he's
I'm
just
saying
scoring. No, he
just
scoring.
said scoring.
I'm saying scoring.
Oh, I was about to say.
Playmaking wise, what's the gap?
It's significant.
Like 10 to
It's
6.
like 10 to 3, I'd say.
Okay, I
Yeah.
gave him 6. That
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah.
Jokic is just as good as Chris Paul level playmakers.
But again, you're saying defense. You're saying it's a very close too. I don't like that.
Defensively, I don't
that.
buy those numbers.
Like
I
you're
don't- I
saying,
don't-
you're
like,
saying
you can
that
see,
Embiid's better, yes, but ultimately, like,
but Jokic has improved on defense.
he
though.
has been, and I-
Definitely
that's
has.
I
how
think
I
he's a
start-
great defender now.
I don't think he's a great.
I can't say that
defender.
yet.
I think that's a
Can't
stretch.
say that yet. It's the regular season.
I wouldn't disagree with
the
you
regular
because
season.
Jokic has said He doesn't think he's a great defender. He doesn't think he's a bad defender. He thinks he's in the middle.
I agree with
But
that.
I think,
I'm with that.
I
I
think,
agree with
but
that.
I
I'm with
think
that.
that's him being generous to himself and not patting himself on the back.
I think you have to wait into the playoffs because
100%.
last year when we seen in the playoffs really put him down as a defender.
But last year and through the entire regular season, he wasn't that good of a defender, though.
But I'm saying when he got to the
He was
playoffs,
average.
when he got to the playoffs, he was worse than average. So it's like we have to wait and see.
In the Phoenix series, yeah.
We have to wait and see because what if they play Phoenix again? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully the adjustments get made or something like
In the
that.
playoffs, though, you're not kidding. These numbers are night and day. This guy,
I mean, I
Jokic,
know.
has been
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I
He's
think
crazy.
there's Jokic is better by a significant amount. And like I said, the gap between Jokic and Embiid is
Yeah.
the gap between with Curry and Dame.
So, yeah, because ultimately, we all agree here. We say Jokic is the better player, but what's your
Yeah.
answer of who would you start the roster with?
Well, looking at those
Jokic.
playoff numbers,
okay.
why
Jokic.
would you start with Embiid?
Yeah, it's true.
It's not that Embiid's playoff numbers are really.
They're just nowhere
No,
near
we're just talking about
Jokic.
these two guys. So it's like looking at those playoff numbers. Why on God's green earth would you put Embiid over the Joker?
Because his defense. That's really it.
You know, I mean,
He's giving you the same scoring production, a little bit better, actually. He's not the same facilitator that Jokic is by any means, but his post game is ridiculous, arguably the best there is for a big man that we have in our league right now. His defense is top
he's
top
the best.
three
He's the best post up player in the league.
for sure.
But
He's the best two-way big.
He is.
I might lean AD, but you know,
Okay,
that's something for
that's
another day.
tomato,
Very
tomato.
close.
I'm-
I think
I'm-
I would give the edge to Embiid.
Earlier in the chat, you said Adebayo.
Two-way?
Nah,
Today?
nah, he's chatting. He's chatting. He's chatting.
I was like, I said that today? Nah.
I was about to say, that's crazy.
Nah.
Adebayo had a
I
great game
respect
against
that.
Portland.
I respect you giving AD his props because that's when AD's at 100 and Embiid are at 100. I agree. I'm leaning AD, but I need to see that motivation when he comes back.
Well, I mean, if AD's 100 and B drops a third, then
At best two-way player.
in terms of best big.
Okay,
I don't think it's that
I'm
far
going
off
with
from
Embiid over.
but the thing is,
AD.
Anthony
too.
Davis.
Healthy AD?
Yep.
Me
Oh,
too.
no, that's pretty ridiculous. I ain't going front.
That
That's
is
not
crazy.
ridiculous.
That is
That's a little
crazy.
crazy.
That's
It is
not
crazy.
Nah, it's not
ridiculous.
crazy.
How is it
Healthy-
ridiculous?
You hold on.
AD's
Stop.
the best-
Wait.
the best
Drew,
big
Drew,
defender.
Drew,
All right.
don't say a word.
All right.
Embiid's
You know,
elite, though.
JC, wait. You said a healthy AD was the best.
Second
not
best.
the best, was the
Second
second
best.
best player in the league. Now
You
all
have
of a
to
sudden,
stop.
no.
You have
You
to
said
stop
that.
saying
But
that.
Now all
Embiid's
of a
gotten
sudden-
better within that time frame, though, bro.
As AD's been hurt, Embiid has got better.
Yeah,
Correct.
bro,
you gotta
I'm
stop.
saying a
Live in the
healthy-
past.
I'm
That was
saying a
2
healthy
years ago.
AD.
We
Can
can't
you
live in
use
the past.
context though? Like for real?
We can't
You
live
said
in the
that.
past.
Because I said
What you
it
said?
after the Lakers won a championship and AD had a dominant playoff run.
Okay.
I said for that season,
Okay.
AD was the second best player in the league that year.
said-
Also,
walking in.
I want to also defend AD a little bit also. Last year, when it mattered most, when he was healthy, we were dominating the Suns. He gets hurt, series wasn't the same.
Nah,
You
Let's
weren't
just
dominating
remember-
the Suns.
No,
You lost
what-
with him game one, and Aiden cooked him.
Okay, we won a game in Phoenix.
you
We were
won
in
both those
Phoenix. We
games
were
with
in
AD,
Phoenix.
though.
Game two-
We were
won game
in
2 and
Phoenix
3.
and we split. We won our first game in LA, and
Game 3 you won.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And AD had back-to-back
and that was
30
when
point games.
LeBron hit that stupid move that you have Andre Drummond mocking LeBron. Also, I'm just saying when AD's at 100%, we see how dominant he can be. That was the team that ended up going to the NBA Finals. We need to respect AD. A healthy AD, you got to stop with the disrespect.
Saying Embiid is better than AD is not
But
disrespectful.
you're saying easy. That's not easy.
Listen, I'm listen. I love to disrespect AD. It's really funny.
Exactly
But
why I
at
know
the same
it's-
time, I respect
exactly.
AD when he's healthy.
Exactly.
When he's healthy, he's him and Embiid. I would say AD is better. Like I'm not saying it's not a debate, but I would like if you ask me who's better, I would say AD.
So
pretty
you think
clearly.
AD's
not
a
even better
better
than
scorer than
KP.
Embiid when he's healthy?
AD is like a 28 and 12 guy, bro.
So is Embiid.
But AD's giving you like
28
elite-
and
not
12,
elite, not
he's
just
averaging
elite
almost
Embiid might have a better scoring bag than him, bro. He dead might. He's a
he
better
might.
post
Probably
player.
the same.
He's
No.
actually a better 3-point shooter now too.
That's the only thing I would give you.
is
That's the only thing
broke.
I would give you.
Yeah, but the thing with AD is like he can. It's not only that he can guard you in the post, he can guard you in the perimeter too. Embiid can't do that.
So who's a better rim protector in your opinion?
Embiid.
Ooh, that's close though.
And, no, AD's a good.
AD's a
but
great
I would
shot
say-
blocker.
I would say Embiid too though.
But AD's more versatile, so it's like he gives you all that plus the versatility.
Who you taking, KP or AD?
What the hell?
Yo, he said that like a couple seconds too. I gave him the ill side eye. I'm
I don't
just
know.
like,
I
come
think
on now.
I give Joel some slack, but that take was like 2 years ago, bro.
I mean,
and
Yeah,
Joel
you act
Embiid,
like I said it now. Like you said, I said it recently.
Joel Embiid's gotten much better since then.
What's the Joel Embiid's numbers right now? Like 26 and 12?
No,
20,
he's averaging
28,
close to
28 and 11.
28 and 11. I mean, a poor man's AD right now is 24 and 10. So it's like
I know,
that's
it's
that's him
crazy.
as a that's
I mean,
him.
that's with him also playing with LeBron too. I feel like that helps.
I mean, him alone,
Bro, the
Him
first
alone,
no.
he was putting up 80 numbers. He was putting up the same numbers as Embiid was alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So him alone, you can't really like it doesn't
What was
change the
I
difference.
think 80's best season was what, like
28, 12 and leading league and block, something like that.
and Joel Embiid can do that.
Yeah, the playoff, and then we get to the playoffs. It's not. I don't think it's close.
Oh, playoffs is different. Playoffs is
I mean,
different.
AD's a
but like
beast.
right now,
So
I'm
we're
taking
all
Embiid.
going with Jokic. Outside of you, you're going with Embiid.
I said Jokic is the best.
Nah, he
is
said-
the
No, he
best
said-
No, I'm
player.
talking about like who you start a team with.
Oh yeah.
You just want to be.
Are you going to
different.
start a team with Jokic too?
Easily.
Okay,
He makes players better.
he does.
I would,
But
I
it's
would-
not like
I would start-
that Embiid doesn't make his team better either.
Yeah, just not to the level of Jokic though. That's
That's
really
because
what it is.
his playmaking's unbelievable.
Do you think if we switched them, if you put the joke on Philly, they'd be better?
Yeah.
yeah.
And if we put Embiid on Denver,
If Jokic is on Philly, they're probably the first seed right now. I'll be honest.
That's throat. With all due respect.
That's not throw. That's not throw. What the hell?
With all due
How?
respect. With all due respect.
How?
With all due respect.
What the hell?
Number one
funny,
seed,
bro.
I mean,
that was crazy.
How?
Number one
'Cause
seed.
Bro,
Bro,
the
that's
only
not-
reason.
yeah, I'm
wait,
here,
for
like,
one. Hold up. The only reason Philly is this low is because Embiid's been hurt. When Embiid was healthy, they were one of the top teams in the Eastern
They
Conference.
were number one for a minute when
And that was
They
with
were like
Tobias
8
out
and
too.
2.
that was early in the
started
year.
on, he,
It's-
but
come on.
still,
Wait,
he
what you
went
mean?
out.
No, you telling me Jokic with Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle? What? Come on,
What?
they're the best team in the Eastern Conference record wise right now.
I think they're top three stamped.
I think it's hard to just say that
they're
outright.
And the
one.
East is harder than the West right now. I think.
It kind of
Well,
is.
and I would say, actually, no. I'd take
I
it
was
back.
gonna say
It's
because
deeper.
the
top
It's
heavy,
definitely deeper.
Top heavy West is.
I was gonna say the top three teams in the West are arguably better than
Who's third in the West now? Is it still the
Utah.
Jazz?
It's Memphis.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is it
not
Memphis?
It's
Okay.
not the Jazz anymore.
It's Memphis.
It is
the third
Memphis.
seed. I don't know. That's just hard to say. Like that's outright one.
That's not outrageous though.
It's hard to say that, bro, because now you switch over his schedule. He's got to play Brooklyn 4 times or 3 times. He's got to play Milwaukee 3 or
act
4
like
times.
that's not-
Brooklyn's
like, come on.
food. Brooklyn would be food for Jokic. Bucks would not be.
Food?
What do you
Food
mean?
is-
Like to beat us?
No,
Or
as in
to,
like
or
he would
to
eat.
kill us.
He would
Oh,
eat.
he'll kill.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, individually, he's going
kill
to
us.
eat anybody, but it's like,
Yeah, anyone.
would they win? Like Milwaukee,
Bro,
if
he's
he
winning
play-
with Aaron Gordon.
I'm not gonna lie though. Yeah, he is playing with Aaron Gordon and like Morris as his point guard. Like
True.
this guy's playing with Tyrese Maxey, who's having a breakout year. Seth Curry, who's averaging 16, and then Tobias Harris on a down year is giving you 18 a game. Joel Embiid's team's better, bro.
No, it's definitely.
Nobody said
no,
it's not better.
saying
So I'm
it's
saying
not.
I think
says not better.
I agree with. I don't know about number one, but I think they'll be top three in the East. I don't
they're-
think they'll
they're
be
4.
5 or
They're
6
4.
right now.
No, they're
whatever they
4.
are.
They're 4 right now.
They are.
Sixers are 4.
No, they're not.
They're 4. On me, y'all. They're 5. Apologize.
Cleveland is 4.
No, but it's Bulls,
Bucks.
Heat,
Bucks are
Nets,
4.
Bucks.
Oh yeah,
They're a 0.5 out of 4.
Jokic is that good too, bro.
sheesh.
He is good.
It's a
Very
tough,
good.
It's a tough nugget, man.